In this video, I have some more tips and techniques for your S2L. So no matter which approach you take to solving your S2L pieces on the Megaminx, many tips and techniques apply from the star and F2L video into your S2L as well. So things such as block building, deciding where to look around the cube to search for pieces, as well as things such as solving cases and pieces in a speed optimal fashion. Also, generally speaking, solving pairs and pieces efficiently around your Megaminx is also very important during your S2L. Another thing you may want to keep in mind is that as you progress through your S2L, there will be fewer faces on which unsolved pieces can be located. So that is, after we solve, for example, our white and then our yellow, there are only 4 more faces which are completely scrambled. And so look ahead on the Megaminx becomes gradually easier as we progress through the solve. And this is exacerbated when compared to improved look ahead as you solve the 3x3 F2L. Look ahead becomes a fair bit easier on Megaminx as you progress through the solve. So one thing you may want to keep in mind is that as you solve more of your S2L, you can kind of exercise a bit of liberty and try and turn a little bit faster because look ahead is easier. So one thing that's fairly important during your S2L is doing things such as block building. So let's say we've finished our white F2L and we're solving the yellow star and F2L. If we have a case like this where the corner and edge are connected as part of our next color, then it's going to be fairly straightforward to try and use these in a block building manner. So let's say we've got these two here and this edge, which belongs with this corner, is over here. We can simply do something like R'F, U2', R'F to solve this yellow star edge as well as this pair, and then go on and solve the rest of this yellow layer. Once again, it's important to think about practicality. So let's say we have these two pieces connected here. It may not be the best decision to actually preserve these two, given that the other edge for this yellow F2L pair down here is back here. It makes more sense, and it's actually quicker to just do R'F R to insert the edge and actually break up this pair, then do an L, and then insert that F2L pair back there. Don't let this example discourage you though. Block building is a really great tool around your S2L, and in most cases where you have a pair of pieces like that connected together, you will be able to use block building and create a kind of 1x1x2 block. Another common sense tip is that even if you have a strict color order that you solve around the Megaminx, you shouldn't have a strict piece order that you solve within each individual color. So for example here, I'm working on the yellow, but I've solved this pair and then this pair. Now I'm going to solve this pair. And that was just basically based on the pieces that popped up and look ahead, as well as which pairs were easiest to solve at any particular point in time. And I would highly recommend against having a strict, pairing order. So that is, do this one, and this one, because that's going to be probably inefficient in the vast majority of cases. Another thing to think about is that if you're using the Westland method or a variation on the Westland method, it's important to kind of stay close to your next S2L color as you finish another S2L color. So let's say in this position, I've got these two pieces like this. It is actually preferable to pair them up in this layer, and then all I'll need to do is an X' rotation to actually insert my next edge to complete this purple star. So pairing up these two, I can do like this, and then I'm right here and can easily go straight into solving this purple, like so. This is opposed to an undesirable situation like this, in which our next color around the Megaminx is going to be purple, but our last yellow F2L pair is here. So solving those in this position means that I would need to do a big rotation over to here and then go in and insert my last purple star edge and then go on and solve my purple S2L pairs. So as you finish one S2L color, you should try, where practical, to position yourself close to your next S2L color so that you don't have to rotate a great deal, and you can also try and look ahead for the next star edge that you're going to insert as you progress through solving each individual color. Another thing that I would like to bring up is color neutrality in your S2L. So for me, I have a fixed color order, which is yellow, purple, and dark green. Some people have a fixed color order in the opposite direction, starting on a completely different color, such as, dark blue, red, and then dark green. And we can essentially view these approaches as the same sort of thing in that you're solving one color after another, and this order is already fixed. However, an alternative approach is to base your choice of the second, third, and fourth color on what you see around the Megaminx and not restrict yourself to solving one particular color every time. So for example here, I mean, this isn't a particularly great example, but let's say we had these two purple S2L edges already in place after we finished our F2L, then it would make far more sense to it would be a bit more efficient to actually go and solve the star and S2L, solve the F2L on the purple side rather than inserting, my last two yellow edges down here and then continue on from there and solve, the green and then the red. The reason that color neutrality in S2L is more difficult on the Megaminx is because you effectively have to make the decision during your solve rather than making a decision during inspection like you would with color neutrality on a 3x3. And so it's more akin to actually, choosing your cross color on a big cube 3x3 stage where you have to decide in the moment what you're going to do rather than having it be premeditated. So it's definitely something that you can try out, and particularly if you're color neutral on 3x3 and quite confident at pairing up S2L pieces, then it can be beneficial for you, I think, in the long run. But many people do prefer just to have a fixed color order so they can know exactly which pieces that they're looking for during their S2L next. Another simple random tip is that if you have edges oriented like this, so for example, this orange and purple one is oriented with respect to the orange face, then you can always just insert the pair. If the corner is up in this layer, you can always insert the pair just using two generator moves. So just R and U moves like that, which is generally pretty quick on the Megaminx. My final tip is for when you get to the last two faces, and more particularly for solving the edge, corner and edge block on these last two faces. I see some people in their solves who simply always insert one edge and then solve the pair in addition to that edge. But let's say we have a case like this where this edge is solved down here, then obviously it makes a lot of sense to just use this as our solved edge and create this pair here with effectively blue as our bottom layer color. So we've got these two, and we can set them up and also bring this slot up like that, and then create that edge corner edge block down there.